All right, just for a little clerical, the agenda this month is a little different than what you've seen in the past, only for timing and the purposes of keeping everything flowing accordingly. So we're going to start off with presentations. I'll open the floor up to our town engineer, Barney Quinn.
Thank you. As you know, we hired Brennan and Company to look at our options for Flatiron. And we have Rob and Lily from Brennan and Company, and we have Mark from Daff, McCune and Walker here to give a presentation. So turn it over to Rob. Okay.
There you go. Can you hear me? There it is. Okay. Can you hear me? Good. Good evening. My name is Rob Brennan, Brennan and Company Architects, representing our consultant team, introducing them. Barney started off with Lily Mundroff, architect with Brennan and Company. Mark Willard with Daff McCune Walker. He's a landscape architect, and Daff McCune is a civil engineering firm as well.
Can I step over just 1 second? Can you try killing one or two of the lights back there, please? That's good.
Our other team members are Rachel Albrecht Engineering, and Ben Rausch, FSI Engineers, Mechanical and Electrical Plumbing. But we are your consultants for the historic Flatiron Building in the National Register Historic District of Mount Airy. So we're happy to be here. We love old buildings, and we're happy to work on this one with you. So our charge was to examine three options, site concepts. One, the building remains in place. One, the building remains in place and we walk around it, we add walkability. And the third was relocating the building with improved walkability. So that's all about the building, but also the site is a big element, as you'll see in the concepts. So we renamed them, of course. We called Concept 1 the Gallery, Concept 2 the Promenade, and Concept 3 the Relocation. So we can refer to them in that regard. You all have the drawings, and you're all well versed in what you see and have seen. So we'll expand on that, and we know we're limited on time, so we'll click to the next slide. And this is the site with all the paving around the building. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mark because he's going to make it better.
Great. Thank you, Rob. Again, Mark Willard with Daff McCune Walker, and it's been exciting to work on this project. It's been terrific. So you can see the existing conditions of the property. There's a lot of bituminous concrete paving. The site is bordered by Main Street on the, I guess it would be the east. Park Avenue on the west. Park Avenue is on the east, and the intersection of Park Avenue and Main Street is to the north of the building. You can see to the south of the building, there's a pretty severe slope. And that was really one of the big challenges, is how do we sort of not only convey circulation around the building, but also maximize the usability of terraces, the usability of the space for outdoor dining, outdoor events, things like that. And also improve the ADA access around the building. It's quite a challenge. If you can move to the next slide, that'd be great. This is simply another topo survey of the property. It's sort of flipped the other direction now. You can see more detail, the grading, the existing trees. There's an existing foundation. But essentially, the large parking lot to the bottom of the sheet is sort of the municipal lot, we've been calling that. And then Veterans Way separates that from the sort of peninsula of land where you see that existing foundation. So Conchetta's, which is the restaurant to the upper left, is one point that we've tried to convey circulation so people can move from the restaurant down Main Street easily to the Veterans facility to the far right of the drawing there. The problem is the building's so close to the street and the sidewalk's so narrow, as you all know. So we can go ahead and move to the next option. So this is a grading plan that we did for option 1. I'd like to just go ahead and move to the next slide. This is the illustrative plan for option one and called the gallery. And the key here is we've managed to get the layout to work with circulation through the building. We've taken space out of the lower floor of the building and it created an arcade. So people can walk from Conchetta's to the left of the slide through the Flatiron building and then again continue across the street and over to Town Hall. The series of walls that you see that are created to make the grade up from the dining terrace below to the event terrace above and a series of steps there, those walls actually contain stormwater management filtering devices, which I'll get into a little bit later. And across the street is we've proposed to sort of take the impervious space away there and make that a grassy knoll area that provides flexible space for events. So you could have overflow from events at the terraces to the grassy knoll. We narrowed down Park Avenue to 14 feet and created a pedestrian walkway along the top side of Park Avenue that enables someone to walk up to the second floor of the building. And we added an ADA parking space up at Veterans Lane, so you would have access for someone to park ADA there and be able to have access to the shared public spaces. The materials, we're thinking brick pavers for the majority of the event spaces. There's some concrete paving sort of shown in tan. That's sort of the key for that. And for the vertical walls, we're proposing a stone material, very sort of iconic of Mount Airy, similar to the stone at the trestle bridge that Barney had suggested was sort of the iconic material for Mount Airy. So we'd like to use authentic materials that are real, that create the sense of history and permanence and place for Mount Airy. So I'd like to go through the next two options. I'll be a little briefer because some of the things repeat. So if we move to the next slide. By the way, this is a utility plan for option one. And just to sort of conceptualize what we're doing is we're capturing all the water from the parking lot, which now currently runs down Park Avenue, makes the sharp turn and runs down South Main Street. Essentially what the utilities are doing, they're capturing the water at the top of the hill off the parking lot, and again, capturing the water that lands on the terraces and piping it through those two filters that are built into the retaining wall systems, and then going out to an outfall down Main Street and tying into a storm drain system further down. So essentially all of the surface water is collected and piped underground, reducing all the erosion and maintenance issues that come with that. Next slide, please. This is the grading plan for option two. You can go ahead and move to the next slide. This is the illustrative plan for option two. Now the big difference here is in option one, we kept all of the streets pretty much the way they were. However, because we still need to get access around the Flatiron building, the parallel parking spaces on the far top side of Main Street have been eliminated. The traffic has been shifted that direction, and 4 spaces have been added to the bottom side of Main Street. That allows us to then create a 7-foot wide walkway around the Flatiron building and achieve that same connection from Conchetta's all the way to the Veterans Club. We also, what's a little different in this option is we have regraded Park Avenue. We have steepened up the lower part of it. We've improved the intersection down below. We've created an ADA parking space that's more level than in the center, and then we steepen up the grade to tie back up to Veterans Avenue. So essentially, Park Avenue is regraded in this option, as well as the retaining wall and the ramps and the steps on the other side of Park Avenue are all included in the scope to become walls similar to the walls the Flatiron building. The location of this building is very sort of unique because once this is improved, our vision is that you're really connecting the existing open spaces near the town hall, the upper left part of the drawing, to all the commercial development that's further to the left of the drawing. It's really going to be like a pinwheel that sort of pulls it all together. So we thought the hardscapes, option two, is more hardscape and more grading, and there's more cost involved, but it does sort of unify all the hardscapes in the whole place across the street as well as on our site. Again, the grassy knoll to the left, to the bottom of the sheet, is for flex space and event overflow, and the vendors' event terrace is set up to be a multiple purpose functioning space. We can go ahead to the next slide. Again, the utility plan is very similar to option one. This is the grading plan for option three, the relocation. I'm going to move up to the next illustrative slide, please. one more. That's all right. Option 3, this is the relocation. The building is actually relocated. So in this effort, we took the building and we left the parking spaces on the top side of South Main Street, but then moved the building slightly downhill and back from the street to allow for more parallel parking spaces on Main Street. So if you're going to move the building, why not gain the parking spaces on Main Street? And then the pedestrian connection from Conchetta's to the Veterans Club is behind the parallel parking spaces, feeling safe. Again, the terraced walls capturing stormwater management in some of the planter areas. Because the building is shifted, we actually divert some of the water around the far side of the building. There's another stormwater facility to the far right side of the building. And Park Avenue is only regraded on the lower part. The upper part is left as is. And of course, the ADA space is added at the top as in option 1. And in this option, the terrace spaces, because the building's moved, the terrace spaces that are remaining are a little bit smaller. So, however, we decided there's still a great opportunity for a stage there and maybe some amphitheater-style seating as Park Avenue climbs up the hill. There we could terrace down those steps. And then the grassy knoll behind that all sort of works together to sort of create a space where people can gather. You could even close down Park Avenue for an event, sort of how we see that functioning. And you could have an entertainment at the upper event terrace. Those are the 3 sort of basic distinctions between the 3 options of the site plan. And after that, I'll let you continue on.
So onto the building. What does this building look like? One thing Mark did not mention was that the footprint of the current building becomes a sort of memorial garden there, right where that pond collection area is. So it's a green space with a potential historic display or artwork and the memory of the old building, the footprint of the old building existing there. If you go to the next slide, please. So you know the existing building. This is the ground, first and second floors. This is what it looks like now. This is a digital model, great thing to have. These are the elevations. Next slide. So on the gallery scheme, this is the new gallery cut through the building, taking away some of the lower ground level square footage, but leaving a potential retail space, toilet room, mechanical, and an elevator addition. So all the schemes have the addition of the elevator to provide accessibility to all the floors. You can see the entry at the far end where the existing wall comes in there. That wall gets rebuilt as well. And then you're blocked from traveling along the old sidewalk by bollards that you'll see in some of the renderings. Next slide. First floor is the artist studio community space. I mean, obviously these are all interchangeable names. It's however you choose to allocate space, but we thought it'd be a great terrace level community space or maker place, maker studio. You can see the new entry area. We also kept the existing stair. Part of historic grants are going to be retaining as much of the building as it was in the first and second scheme. And then when you move it, you may have to opt out of any grants there. So that might be a consideration too. So you have your existing stair when we're allowed to do this. I did a full code analysis, so I'm happy to drill into the details. But next floor, second floor is the couple of office spaces. Again, the elevator, hallway, another toilet room, storage closet. Next slide, please. This is the elevation from Main Street. The sidewalk continues up through the building there, ramps up behind the rail. There's some bollards on the end there to block off the sideway access, and you can see the stone walls of the landscape scheme. We kept the existing, so they all have slightly different details. In this one, we kept the existing windows of the 1920s building. They're all new windows, but the existing openings all remain. There you can see the arcade or the gallery up the hill there with the walls and a rail above, and then the historic area, display area there. Second scheme, the promenade, sidewalk gets pushed out to get a 7-foot wide walkway there. First floor, then that allows us to create a little vestibule and get access to the elevator from the Main Street level. So it's a little vestibule and you can go up. And these elevators today are, I'm sure you've seen doors on the front, doors on the back, doors on the side. So it allows you some flexibility and access to the different levels. This one, again, reestablishes the stair from the lower level to the upper level. If you had a larger tenant on the first and second floor, the stair would connect the two. This also adds a bay addition at the front of the building to bring back that bay element that existed previously on the earlier 1903 building. Next one. The community assembly space on the terrace level. The elevator, the toilet room moves to this side to get a bigger hall and the stair up and down. Next slide, please. And then the office space is larger and more consolidated with the perimeter hall, elevator, and toilet room. And this one looks like elevation from the street, different look there with more similar to what exists there now because we don't have the gallery cutting through, but new windows and sort of reconstructed parging and wall. The bay on the left side, and then on the end facing down Main Street to the train station. So your two nodes, your two barbells of the train station and the Flatiron building and the terraces. Next slide, please. And that's what it could look like with the display wall, the bay, the two-story bay, and the window up top there, and the elevator addition. Third scheme, the relocation, moves the building up away from Main and a little bit up the hill where we get access to, again, to the elevator vestibule and a larger retail space because of the arcade, I call it the arcade, the gallery, lack of the gallery. Next scheme, please. Community assembly space, and then a new stair. Because the building is moved, it becomes a new building. So we have to do a new fire stair because we can't reuse the old one. So, and you see the memorial historic area there to the right side. Next scheme. Next slide. Office space above. This one's a little more regular in shape. Next slide. The elevations, different window pattern, some brick detail. Start to see the historic display on the left side. And then here we took the full arch of the window and 3 new double hungs there to kind of bring a different look to this one. Next slide. And that's what it could look like there. That may be the last slide. We also looked at cost. And I can tell you that they're all about the same. So, concept one, the gallery. We had multiple contractors look, specialty contractors look at the foundation, the foundation work, the supporting of excavation work. Mark did some takeoffs with the finish work on the terraces and the walls. We did some takeoffs with the square footage, but it all came to be for the gallery scheme about $3,253,000. The promenade, $3,600,000. The relocation's about $3,500,000. Plus, if you choose to go ahead, there'll be obviously associated professional fees, to support the work to be done. So generally, it looks like it's in the $3 million, and we've had it vetted by another contractor, and some went up, some went down, but it'll get more and more specific as we get closer. So, I guess that's it.
All right, thank you very much. I will open up the floor to any council members, the mayor, Barney, any town staff. I would suggest this is a very brief discussion, high-level questions only. We're not going to dig down into specifics on each concept plan, but any kind of high-level questions that you might have regarding any of the three plans and how we want to move forward in the next month, I'll open that floor up now. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, for bringing the mic forward. First off, thank you for the presentation. It was very informative and very well thought out and very good drawings here. So I guess I was, when I looked over at the plans here the first time, can different aspects of different plans be like mix and match some aspect of it?
Absolutely, yep. That's part of the process is you like parts of one, parts of another, and then it gets merged into the preferred state.
Okay, because I really like some of the outdoor amenities, like say option 3, you got the little amphitheater, the promenade, and everything else. Another question is for the elevator space. Definitely in option 1, it looked like it was all contained within the building. Option 2 and option 3 had a vestibule for the elevator. I guess I want to say after hours when the building would be closed or something, can that elevator be, say, turned off per se? Is there still access for ADA, like a ramp or something around the building some way or the other?
Yeah, all the schemes have exterior access around the building.
Okay.
During the day, it could be open. The vestibule could be open to allow you access up into the first and second floor. And the building could be locked and the whole thing could be shut down too.
And I want to say the exterior items on Park Avenue, does that would the auto repair place be still in place, like Chewy's and stuff? Would those buildings remain in place there? So it's just a parking lot area and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
nothing's taken away. The only thing that we're encroaching in is next to Conchetta's, but that's something that we would work with the owner there.
Okay. And for option 2, it just appears that the parking spaces are being transferred from the west side to the east side, the 4 spaces, the parallel parking spaces. In option 2 for everything, is net loss to 6, okay. All right, I think that, I like the natural use of materials, the materials that would be in the surrounding areas and things of that nature. And for option 3, it looks like the more, if we move it, it would be considered a new building, so grant opportunities would be potentially limited if we move it. But also, when you classify it as a new building, would we have to do other code improvements to the building? Or would that happen no matter what?
All the buildings have code improvement, yes.
Okay.
So the only additional one with the new building is the fire stair, the stair, and the smoke enclosure. The
Okay.
building is sprinklered, so that's the big
Big thing.
forgiver that allows you to do other things.
Okay, so no matter what, any of the options would require code improvements to bring it up to
Absolutely,
standards?
yep.
Okay, which is understandable, so, all right, cool, that's it, thank you, sir.
All right, anybody else have any questions?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So we're basically looking at between $3.5 and $4 million for the range of options and then the consultation fees, et cetera. So that's what we're looking at as in today's costs. Are these order of magnitude costs? Are these pretty locked-in costs? What's the confidence
They are
level?
order of magnitude. at
These
this
are
point.
order of magnitude.
Yes.
Okay.
They're
So order of magnitude means plus or minus 500,000? A million? What's
well,
your,
no, I'd be guessing. I'd say 500,000 maybe.
okay, so this is plus or minus another 500,000, okay. In looking at the complete scope of work, the town is envisioning 3 phases. This is the first phase, then it gets into design and then construction. What I saw in the full scope of work is any of these options, the building has to be completely gutted, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, not the framing, the floor framing, there'll be additional structure inserted to carry
Okay.
the required loads, the office loads.
Yeah.
There's a steel beam that we've got to insert.
Right.
The length of the building to create some openings there.
Okay.
When the building's moved, a whole new foundation will be built,
Right.
and just the upper 2 stories will be moved to the new foundation, so.
Okay. The relocation option is, in your view, how is it feasible to move the building? Can it withstand physically moving? What's your engineering view on that?
It's been done.
Okay.
I mean, I've witnessed it done. Masonry buildings in Ellicott City, there was the Ellicott House was moved. Was a stone building, moved across the street. So they, put in steel cribbing and lifted and moved
Okay.
it. It is on a hillside, so
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how they accomplish that.
Okay.
But there are
Could
special-
the
specialty-
building be moved back a little farther? It is potentially, I know you only moved it so many feet, but it could be moved back farther?
Well, it's a tricky thing because the hill is rising and
Okay.
Main Street is falling, so you want to hit the sweet spot where you can still get access to the terrace and it's not too high or too low, so.
Okay. And then, as Councilmember Munder said, we can kind of mix and match some of the features. For example, I think it was option 2. It was leaving a certain number of parking spaces, but if we wanted to, we could cut down on the number of parking spaces and get more patio frontage in front of the building. We can do those kinds of things, correct? Yeah. Okay, and I don't, it's just, let me know when my time's up.
Believe me, I will.
Because I get it, okay.
I'll let you have a couple minutes of my time.
What was I going to ask? So, in terms of, when I'm looking at this and I'm thinking about, okay, what would be my criteria or guidelines for how I would evaluate each option and select each option? And so for me, we have a pedestrian safety issue, obviously. There's only a 3-foot sidewalk in front of the current building. We have a traffic safety issue with our narrow roadway and the parking. And we have documented crash data that shows we have a significant traffic safety issue on Main Street. So there are many, many criteria one could use. I'm going to look at, the first priority is for the town is safety. So that will be the overarching criteria for me. And if you start with safety, you can't go wrong. So maximizing pedestrian and Main Street safety. I would want to maximize the patio area because I think we've learned from the other side of the street where we have a patio frontage. That's what brings people downtown, and that's what draws people, and they stay and they have a good time. And then the economic development component will be important. I know right now you have this built out as office inside, but we really want to maximize the economic downtown vitality. And so looking back to our downtown vision plan that was done, some of the main objectives were to maximize the commercial viability of the Main Street zone and to deal with the safety and circulation concerns on Main Street. So I'm looking to see some of these same issues that were brought up in that study addressed in this study. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I have a quick question. Our Flatiron Commission is meeting next Tuesday, 7 o'clock, March 12th. So I'm hoping if you have questions, you can talk to them and kind of iron out a lot of your questions on the different versions.
Mayor?
First of all, thanks for the presentation. The $3 to $4 million number is interesting because anything we've done previously, there was a huge division between the different options. So that's kind of new information. It's kind of eye-opening to us. Paying for this is not going to be easy. We can chip away at it through grants, and we have been chipping away at this point through the Flatiron Task Force and the Historical Society and town staff. So that's good, and I can see where we could keep chipping away at it. So I thought the presentation was very good, and the information is very interesting, and I'm sure the Flatiron Task Force will have a lot to discuss next week on it. I will say that the pedestrian concerns are there. I question if the data concerning crashes on Main Street is actually attributable to the Flatiron Building. But having said that, whatever, with all three of these options coming in somewhere about the same, regardless of how the council decides to go, then that's what we'll start working toward, is satisfying whatever that option is. And we'll just have to figure out how to pull the rabbit out of the hat. In option number one, the Park Avenue grading, does it get impacted on option number one?
No, option number one, the Park Avenue grades are the same as they are today. It's still narrowed down.
Okay.
New curbing on the edges, but the actual grade of the road is the same.
Okay, all right. And then option number two, I didn't see it clearly marked. I just want to make sure I understood. There's an ADA parking spot that is created on Park Avenue as you go up.
And that's the option where it's completely regraded, steepened up, flattened, steepened up, and what's existing.
Okay. Okay, all right. So that gives us something to think about as well. So anyway, it was a great presentation. I appreciate it. Appreciate the work that you did on it. Appreciate the work that all of our citizens did to figure out how to make it happen. So I look forward to next month in a deeper discussion. And like I said, whatever the council picks, I'm willing to work on. And I see Barney smiling over there, because all Barney's ever said is, give me a direction, and I'll do it. So, okay, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, I'll say thank you very much for the presentation. It was enlightening. I enjoyed it, seeing the different options. I'm going to reserve any questions till after the Flatiron Task Force meeting. We've had a group of citizens that have put a lot of years into this, more than I have, and they have a lot more depth than I do. So I look forward to attending their meeting on the March 12th and then getting fully informed to be able to make a knowledgeable decision next month. All right, so thank you guys very much.
I know then, just one other quick, all three options to Park Avenue is still open, correct? I took that from, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Thanks. Thanks again. We think you have a great resource, and we're glad that you're saving the building and making Mount Airy even better than it is. So
Perfect, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you again for your time. All right, we will move on to our public comment section of the agenda. By a show of hands, how many people would like to speak this evening? Okay, we have two. Keep it to three. Oh, I'm sorry, three. So we'll go ahead and let our Girl Scout troop come up if they'd like.
John's got it.
Good evening. We are Girl Scout Troop 37075, and we are working on our Bronze Award, which is the highest award that we can earn as Girl Scout juniors. And in order to do this, we need to rope our community into a service project.
We chose a toy and game drive for Johns Hopkins Children's Center, which we scheduled for March 4th to March 16th. This is important for the children who are being treated in the hospital, and it cheers them up.
So we're thankful that Town Hall will be a donation site, and we really appreciate the support you have in us in allowing us to house a box here. Thank you again.
I got a question for him.
Well, thank you guys very much for coming out. Just to clarify, for anyone that maybe didn't hear, from March 4th to March 16th, there's a toy drive that's going on to benefit Johns Hopkins. If you'd like to drop off or donate a toy, you can do so here in Town Hall, and I'll relinquish to, okay. we're
You
good.
covered it, thank you.
All right. Perfect.
Oh, sorry, one other question. New toys, new toys only? Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Our next speaker, Mr. Valet, go ahead.
I'm Larry Valet with the Historical Society. Just a reminder to the town, our Hall of Fame banquet is coming up on March 19th at 5 p.m. at the American Legion. Tickets are on sale at Blossom and Boutique. And we encourage everybody to come out and help celebrate the Hall of Fame nominees this year, who are Paul Beal, Paul Burkett, Margie Davis, Carl Dixon, and Robert Lohman, and we hope to see everybody there.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Glad Larry went first. That's a hard act to follow. I'm Wayne Evans, 16473 Old Frederick Road, other side of the tracks. This evening I'm representing Calvary United Methodist Church. On April 6th, we're going to be doing a health fair. As of now, we have about 30 different tables, and both counties will be represented with different medical facilities, things like that. We've got a lot of locals that are being represented, the service clubs that supply first aid kits and things like that, another service club that provides hospital equipment. So that health fair is going to go from 10 until 2 on April 6th. That's the first Saturday. And subsequent to that, the church is also going to be doing their second CPR training class. Will be Sunday afternoon, the 14th. And you can sign up for that. By the way, the first, the health fair, there's no cost to that. That's y'all come. But the second one, the CPR class, the church is going to host that again, too. We've done this in the past, and the church had always kind of underwritten that. This time it's going to be about a $30 deal, but you get certified with CPR, which includes the use of defibrillators, things like that. So that's another thing the church is going to be doing. So if you would want to sign up for that, you can go on the church's website, calvary.org, and very easy to find. You can sign up for that. And on a personal note, later this evening, the council is going to be voting on the new commission, the Commission on Aging and Livability. As a member of the forerunner to this, the Mount Airy Senior Task Support Group, I know all of us, I don't want to speak for everyone, but myself, very happy to see this transitioning into something like that. And I would really encourage, I would personally like to see a unanimous vote on the council's part on this. Thank you.
Thank you. And now that public comment is over, we're going to move on to our speakers portion of the agenda. And, Mr. Butts, I'm sorry. You'll be next, Commissioner Guerin. No worries. I've got you on a special portion of the agenda.
Okay, a little bit more than 2 years ago, there was a group of us that started a group called the Mount Airy Senior Task Force. I was a member of that group. Adele Conley was a member, Diane Linton, Wayne Evans, who you just heard from, Roxanne Hemphill, Sally, I can't remember her last name. Okay, and Fran Maraca, all right? That was over 2 years ago. And we had a concept at the time that Mount Airy's seniors deserve the opportunity to be heard. We need to understand in greater detail what are their needs, what support do they need, how can we help our senior population. And so we set about to do that. We reached out to AARP because we realized they are clearly a major source in terms of these kinds of issues. and we received all kinds of feedback from them and the opportunity to really sign a board with them and to sit at their knee and to learn what we could do. This evening, I'm here representing MAST, and we've got a number of folks who have been working on this for over 2 years now, okay? One of those individuals is Adele Connolly. Dell wanted to be here tonight but is not able to, and she took the time to write out some thoughts, and I want to share those with you. Adele writes, I'm unable to attend tonight's council meeting, but I'd like the following read during public comments. I'm writing in support of the establishment of the Mount Airy Commission on Aging and Livability. We call that COAL, COAL. There's an old saying that has been used with a variety of populations. Nothing about us without us. Never has this been truer than with Mount Airy's senior population. For too long, the powers that be have made decisions that affect our seniors by assuming we know what they want or need. Our seniors deserve a voice, as do their caregivers. Many have lived in this town their entire lives and want to be able to continue to live independently as long as they possibly can. However, the lack of accessible transportation, housing, and recreation, among others, make this a pipe dream. MAST has done all it can do to listen to our seniors, and now we need to have a commission to be able to continue to give our seniors that voice and to actually be able to make the changes that are needed to enable our seniors to age in place. Of paramount importance is getting the counties to work together to provide the services our seniors desperately need and deserve. We need a town entity to make that happen. As an example, Mount Airy is unique in being in multiple counties, and that comes with a price, as no transportation providers are willing to cross county lines to get our seniors to doctor's appointments. With the commission, we can bring the various players together to come up with a workable solution for our most valuable population, our seniors. Thank you. And it's signed Adele. I think that's an overview of what we're talking about. It's time that we reached out and we said, our seniors deserve better. We need to understand what their needs are, what support they need to have provided to them. We're willing to ask you to endorse that tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Butts.
Mr. President, one question or request of Bill here before he sits down. If it hasn't been made available to the council or stuff, can Adele's comments be handed over to the town clerk or something so we all can have copies of it? Because I believe it is relevant. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our speakers portion of the agenda. And this month, we're lucky to have the Carroll County Commissioner for District 4, Michael Guerin, here to speak. If you don't know, District 4 includes Mount Airy, Woodbine, Taylorsville, Winfield, and parts of Gamber, Sykesville, and Westminster. We're also even more lucky that he is a Mount Airy Town resident. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Guerin to speak.
Thank you very much for bestowing that honor upon me. I appreciate it very much. So good evening, everybody. I am here to voice my support for the establishment of a Commission for Aging and Livability. It's no secret that a large portion of our town are considered senior citizens, ages 60, 70, 80, and above. But what strikes me the most about that particular group is they really are the backbone of this town, and that's not being hyperbolic. They're the volunteers at places like our fire stations. They're the fundraisers. They run the civics groups. They are really out there. You know, they're doing it all. I can attest to all of that, in addition to what goes on over at the Mount Airy Senior Center, which is obviously a county entity. The senior citizens, if you will, in this town are really front and center in making this town what it is. So my hope for the commission that it can address issues of amenities and caregiving and activities and transportation. It's well-deserved, and it is long overdue. You know, Adele really said it best, and she actually echoes a lot of my comments from the standpoint of an elected official. We do have challenges, obviously. The town is very unique. It falls within 2 counties. And a lot of the amenities in our town, it's no secret, they're actually serving 4 different counties. People walking into our library and our senior center are coming from all over the place. The county funds all those activities, and we don't mind. We would never, ever, you know, provide some sort of litmus test to find out where people are coming from. It's a wonderful building. I wish, you know, one day we could perhaps build a new one. We could add on to it, update it. But the point I'm trying to make is that from an elected official standpoint, the ability to look at one entity, in this case the commission, and talk about some of these issues, I think would be particularly helpful. Some of us have worked together on the board on some transportation issues, and they're tricky. And it'd be nice to have a focal point where they're either bringing in different groups, perhaps, from the senior center and around the area into one particular commission, so we could really get down to some of the tangible and affordable solutions, things that we can do, ways that we can make things better. I often tell people that sometimes we can't do everything we want to do, but we certainly have to do our best not to mess things up, and if we can, make things better. But again, you can't help but notice right away after you live in this town for a while that the richness of this town, the success, the reason why it's probably, in my humble opinion, the last best place to live in this whole state of Maryland is because of the volunteers and the people who are out in the communities. And most of them are our quote-unquote senior citizens. Every day in and day out, they're the ones out there. So I want to again voice I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and the folks of Mount Airy tonight, but I again want to voice my strong endorsement of the Commission of Aging and Livability, and hope that the town council sees fit to move in that direction. So thank you again for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming out and voicing your opinion. All right, we will now move on to our approval of council meeting minutes and closed minutes. First up, we will have the February 2024 Town Council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
We have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please, all in favor of approving the February 5th, 2024 Town Council meeting minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Next up will be the February 2024 public hearing minutes for Charter Amendment Resolution 2024-1. I will make a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And then we have our February 2024 closed meeting minutes regarding land acquisition. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. And now we are on to our Civil Air Patrol report, and Major Rolfe, thank you very much for being here.
Good evening. This is our report for February 2024. Sort of a slow month for us. We did our comprehensive biannual inspection, which is part of an Air Force-directed program that inspects all the Civil Air Patrol units just to get an idea of how we're operating and make sure that everything we're doing is within regulations and identify any areas of shortcomings or benchmarks that can be used elsewhere. We also had several members of the squadron supported Civil Air Patrol's National Legislative Day, where basically hundreds of Civil Air Patrol members converged on Capitol Hill to discuss upcoming budget requests with our various representatives and senators across the Hill. We were able to meet with both senators and all but one of the state representatives this last week. Squadron did not receive any requests for support during the reporting period for community support. We had 2 specially tracked ratings that were awarded to members, recognizing their achievements and professionalism in both personnel and education and training. We continue our formal education program to assist members with studying for and passing the FAA's Part 107 test, which allows them to become commercial drone pilots and opens up the door to a lot more support we can provide using those systems. And our first member is scheduled to take his test next month. 2 of our cadets completed orientation flights in February, not for lack of trying. Weather kept about 8 cadets from flying, unfortunately. No new members joined in February, and our ground team remains fully mission capable with personnel ready to assist the mission support staff and SUAS systems. On the horizon, we did our quarterly roadside cleanup yesterday, and our wing change of command is scheduled for 10 March, and we expect to see some changes in the rest of the structure that affects our squadron to follow that. And then we are holding a first aid and CPR training certification in conjunction with the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company middle of next month. Pending your questions, that's my report for this month.
Any questions?
Just
Councilman Munder?
more so of a compliment than a question. I was driving down Main Street on Saturday, and I would like to thank you all and the troop and the squadron for doing the litter cleanup along Main Street. It was a very welcome sight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One comment. Just a quick comment. Thank you for doing that. My oldest son came home and said, "What's going on down on Main Street? The Civil Air Patrol is out." So it was nice to see them. I said, "They're doing something."
Well, at least they notice us. That's
They're doing
good.
something. I just don't know what yet. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mayor?
Yeah, if Cadet Action is not performing to par, it's probably because she's here in Town Hall now as an intern. So we're very grateful to have Graceful.
So it's
here
not
in
her
Town
fault,
Hall.
it's yours? If she's not performing?
We're going to make sure she sweats.
Got it. Please do so. If you need help, I can suggest other activities.
Little PT in Town Hall, that'd be good.
Game.
Just a question here then for you, since the cadet here is an intern, are you trusting of the Navy commander to properly train her since she's Air Force?
I'm former Navy and former Army, so
Okay.
everybody has a play.
All right.
Want to thank you for everything you guys do, and obviously the litter cleanup and stuff like that was great. So I appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you. We'll move on to the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company report. Now we have Matt Hurd and our new chief here.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of February, we had, and in Carroll County, we had 152 calls to service for the rescue. Frederick, 32, Howard, 3, Montgomery, 1. For fire, we had 24 in Carroll, 10 for Frederick, 3 for Howard, and 3 for Montgomery. We have a couple upcoming events coming up. We have our big plunge on the 9th between the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company and the Mount Airy Police Department. Starts at 9 a.m., is that correct? And that benefits the Special Olympics, so please show up to the Carnival or Firehouse for that big event. We also have March 16th, auxiliary. We have a bingo, cash bingo. That starts, doors open, it starts at 4 o'clock. And we have breakfast with the Easter Bunny on the 17th. So please stop by the Carnival grounds for a nice breakfast with the Easter Bunny.
St. Patrick's Day?
That is. We'll have green, we will have green pancakes as well. So, we're gonna mix it up. So we're gonna work it all together.
It's in the morning, Lynn.
Yeah, so you might make it.
So how cold is the water going to be on March 9th?
Well, I'll leave that up to the experts. I'm not quite sure. But
If you're throwing ice in it, it may,
hopefully we would put some little ice in there.
you're going to have somebody there to resuscitate me right after
Got
I
it all covered.
What are you plunging into at the firehouse?
We have a,
Slip and slide or?
it's called a big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will there be a kiddie pool for the beginners?
Slip and slide for Carl?
It's kind of like a big kiddie pool. But
Oh, okay.
it's good. Absolutely. Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
council one who will say that we'll be there and do it?
The 9th.
I'm sorry.
This Saturday?
I won't be in the country, but
everybody's
they
a little
can
nervous now.
represent.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the mayor's going to be there. I'm not sure about anybody else right now.
I think the rest of
So
y'all
I'm
are
more than
available.
happy to let him represent the
said I'd
town.
be there. I may stick my foot in.
You're there, you're getting wet.
What
So
ti- sorry.
all of these events that you had, there's obviously a big list. Can that be found on the website?
On our website, the Mount Airy Fire Company website, absolutely. And the
Facebook.
auxiliary website for the cash bingo.
Okay.
We do have a link to that on our website as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. Any ladies?
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our Mount Airy Police Department report with Chief of Police Ginevra.
Good evening, everybody. Just to reiterate there what Matt said, so March 9th, 9 a.m. at the fire department, we're going to be doing the polar plunge. So for donations, you can drop off donations here at the town hall, police department, or the fire station, and all of those donations in itself, they go to the Special Olympics. So it's going towards a good cause. So hopefully, if anything, you guys can show up, and if anything, town council too. I'll save you a spot. And I know you were asking how big it is. I could probably do a lap in it. It doesn't really say too much, but again. So again, hopefully we'll get some people to show up and stuff like that. So for meetings and trainings attended, Corporal Brooks attended Handle with Care program for Carroll County. The Handle with Care program is any of the incidences that we happen to be involved with, that there's a child. And when I say a child, we'll just say anyone under the age of 18 in itself, that will note some information in the report, and we can let the Handle with Care people know, and that way they're on point in case somebody needs some other resources other than police involvement. So it's a good program, so it's just trying to get Mount Airy back on the spot with the Handle with Care program. I attended a meet and greet with the director of the Child Advocacy Center for Frederick County. Great institution that they had there. It was great to be invited. They're also reaching out with the Handle with Care program also on the Frederick side. So I'm going to try to get Ms. Grove out there to get some of the officers to see the institution, because basically we'll end up handling a certain part of the investigation. And if it's on the Frederick side, the Frederick detective will take over. Usually, sometimes in itself, there's no follow-up with the police department, so no one knows what happens. So here we get to see a little more behind the scenes. I thought it was great. So I'm going to get the officers to get to that also, and they do a bunch of training and stuff like that. So that was really nice of Ms. Grove to send out that invite to us. For community outreach, we did a traffic initiative on February 23rd. It was led by Corporal Brooks. It was multiple locations attached to the script here in itself. You'll see that attachment with that. Also for the community policing report, the Standards Commission in itself, I attached a letter with that we came back, and I'd like to read that. It says, thank you once again for serving as a model as your agency for only being 7 years and a staff of 10. I think that was a typo, but 9. You've done a great job of building your agency around the community policing philosophy. So that was really nice to see that come back for the department in itself, of what we've done for the community based on certain models for community policing. I added a new section this time in itself for recruitment to let council know what's happening with the police department, keep them abreast. Is a conditional offer for a sworn lieutenant position has been accepted. That individual will be going through a process for as much as what the lateral officers do. And then there's just a little extra that's kind of sprinkled on top of that, being as it's a lieutenant position, that would be a second command for myself to have somebody there. We also have 2 candidates that on February 26th, they took a new testing for the written exam. They both passed. I will be conducting a physical agility exam with them on the 23rd, and that is for new recruitment. On March 6th and March 7th, I have set a panel interview for 2 lateral officers also. So right now in the holding tank with 1 lieutenant, and I have another officer that had already taken an exam. We have 5 potential candidates here for Mount Airy, which is great. For canine deployment for Canine Paisley with Officer Eberts, there was 0 for deployment. Unfortunately, we did have one opioid overdose, on the Frederick County side. That was a non-fatal. For that traffic initiative, again, there were multiple locations. Again, it's not just about handing out those citations, but again, engaging the officers with the community and putting that education information out there based on the complaints that we receive. There was a total of 14 stops, 8 citations, 12 warnings, and 4 safety repair orders, and then there was 1 arrest for driving suspended. There's multiple for this past month in itself. Miss Marcy had a lot of body cam requests from the state's attorney's office, but that can be from an overflow of other cases being postponed due to weather conditions. Total calls for service for the month of February is 555, a 31.20 increase of calls for service compared to the 423 for 2023 in itself. And again, back to those calls, that could be also of the officers self-initiating, generating those calls, not just the calls for service in itself also. And that is my report. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I'm just having all the questions and comments tonight. Chief, just first off, thank you for all the work you do. And second off, to feed off an item in your report about the opioid overdose. I'm not sure if the mayor was going to mention this or not, because he and I went to, and our town administrator went to the Frederick County MML chapter dinner, I believe, last week. And during that meeting, it was made known to the whole chapter that a member of the MML family in Frederick County, their daughter died due to a fentanyl overdose. And then they called the police and then first responders and everything, and they just couldn't do anything about it. So my thing is, the public out there, if you don't know how to use naloxone, Narcan, one of the opioid inhibitors, please learn how to do that, because this was a teenage daughter of a very nice gentleman and a town councilman in our MML family. It was totally unintentional, and something happened. So thank you for all the service and everything you see and do every day.
Yes, sir. Just to let everyone know, all of the Mount Airy officers, they are equipped with the Narcan for that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to hit on, Carl, but more importantly, no, I don't mind. Do we have Narcan for Paisley? I'm serious.
Yeah.
They brought that up.
Officer Edwards has all the equipment for
Okay.
Paisley, and he has a CPR pack for her and everything.
Yeah, because
so-
I never considered it, but, our dogs are out there sniffing that stuff.
Right, yes.
And so, so I thought that was an interesting thing that came out of the meeting as well. And the young lady who passed away thought she was taking another type of medication, and her boyfriend gave her a pill thinking that it was one thing, and it ended up being, having fentanyl in it. So knocked her out, and there was nobody there. So, so you at home, anybody in the room, don't take medicine from people that you don't know, don't trust, aren't sure of, it's not labeled. Don't take it. Okay, thanks.
I know Steve's, but to follow up with the mayor, the topic of the thing was one pill can kill. And also, if you do witness an overdose, I repeat, do not be afraid to call 911. The emergency services are prepared and do have the supplies to try and revive the people. And you are protected under the Good Samaritan law in Maryland. So again, if you see an overdose or you know somebody that's overdosing, do not be afraid to call. Thank you.
Yes, sir, and that's correct, the information that you just said in itself with Good Samaritan. That's correct. Call the police department, let somebody know, they'll send EMS down there, and we'll get the help. And again, the police station is open if you have medicine that you want to turn in, so you can drop it off. I know we set up other dates and stuff for, the meds to be turned in, but it's always open. You can come into the station and drop it off. And if you're not too sure, you can call the station, and we can supply you what can be turned in. No sharps, though, please. no sharps.
Councilmember Demeter?
Yes. So Chief, again, thank you for everything you do. I have a question. I'm looking at your Group A and Group B offenses for 2024. We don't have a lot of these, but what does jump out at me is the fraud offenses. It was the highest of all the offenses in January and the highest in February. And I'm just curious, what are the types of fraud offenses that are showing up? And we're talking about seniors tonight. I'm a senior citizen. And so I'm just curious, are people targeting seniors? Are they targeting everyone? And what are the nature of these fraud offenses?
So in itself, a couple months back, I did do a speak over at the senior center for the over 50 group there, and that's what I spoke about was fraud, because there's so many different things there that most people they see it posted on there. They're getting emails that are schemed. Anyone can scan something in and change the documents where people are calling up with certain information. The new thing is now also with computers. People are calling in and saying that your information has been hacked or scammed. Your mail, we've noticed that around here in Mount Airy, if you put your flag up, there is either one or a two operator in a vehicle. They'll see your flag up, they will drive to the location, and they will retrieve your mail and then sort through it, and if anything, wash out your checks. That's not only for the residential, but also for the commercial, because we've had a couple institutions here also in town that large dollar amounts for these companies that are sending out their checks to pay work that was done, as those checks are being washed out too. And sometimes they're not finding out, they're not following up with anything, and these checks are being cashed. So there's an array of different things in itself that is happening with that, and I don't think it's just specifically targeted for the seniors in itself. I think it's just in general that a lot of people assume that Mount Airy is like a little sleep town, that there's no enforcement whatsoever. And again, with 70 and 27, you get some of these people that come through this transient traffic that start to make a little home base here and start preying upon everyone in the community, not just singling out. If we were to put an age on anything in itself, I'd say the estimate would maybe be in the late 30s, early 40s for people. But a lot of people in itself don't understand that expectation of privacy too when you're taking your trash for pickup. So if you're disposing of your trash and it's for pickup, anyone can come and pick up that trash that it's set out there. Your expectation of privacy is no longer. So, I mean, if you're putting certain documents out there, I know some people rip it up, take it, shred it. I know here in the town, you also have a shredding day. Get those documents, have it shredded. Careful what you're doing for work purposes and stuff like that. And if you're not too sure, call us so we can investigate it. And the other thing is also is when you're having somebody that's continuously having you on the phone as you go to your banking institution, withdraw money, the tellers or any of the bank employees or the managers there, they are trying to safeguard your financial documents, your information. They'll ask you questions of why you're taking out that money. They're trying to help you. They don't care what you do with your money. It is your money, but they're trying to safeguard it and see if you're being scammed. Well, those callers will still have you on the phone, and they'll have you go to Rite Aid, Walgreens, Walmart, and get gift cards. Why anyone would do that, I really don't understand. But once you scratch off that gift card and you give them the information because they're still on the line, there is really probably next to nothing that we can try to do to get your money back. And that's anything from dollar amounts from $500 up to $5,000 that people are getting taken for. It's unfortunate, but again, we try to continuously put that information out there. And again, there's so many different scams. I can forward you, if you'd like, sir, and the rest of the council, also all that information again.
Yes,
I
please
didn't
do.
speak about it there, so there was a lot of things that a lot of people didn't know.
Thank you. And thank you
sir.
for the good overview. It's good for the citizens to hear this again, so thank
Sure.
you.
Yes, sir.
I know, Mr. President, just one thing. a coincidental thing here, as we were talking about fraud here, it's just not physical fraud or mail fraud. I got a text here saying, you know, there's been an unauthorized charge on my account, and I don't even have an account with the bank. So please call this number
Correct.
to solve the problem. But it's interesting because when these things do pop up, I'm sure you've told to, make sure when you read the message that it makes sense, because the one thing in here it says, follow this number. No one, a bank wouldn't use follow this number. They would say call this number or something that. So scrutinize what people send you to in emails and texts. But I think that was just funny and opportunistic time to say that. So thank you.
Right. Again, I know everyone has that cell phone. It's a nice little handy-dandy computer in your hand. But if there's emails that you're getting or phone calls, why would you answer it anyways? Go to your institution and talk to those people there. They can help you. They're a resource, and so are we.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate all the information.
Great. All right, thank you.
We will move on to our mayor, council, and staff reports, and I will turn it over to our mayor, Mayor Hushhour.
All right, thanks so much. I thought February wouldn't be real busy, but it ended up being very busy. Let's see, tomorrow evening on March 5th, this concerns the Historical Society. Tomorrow evening, March 5th, the Historical Society will meet at 7 p.m. in the lower level of the fire company station. The topic will be growing up in Mount Airy, which is a continuation from last month. This month, it'll be facilitated by Jimmy and Diane Linton, Billy Wagner, and Pete Pallas. The annual Box and Bags Bingo was on February 9th. Was a huge success. Thank you to all who participated, and thank you to the Fire Company Auxiliary and Vocelli's Pizza for supplying the food and the pizzas during the event. Also, much appreciation to all the sponsors and volunteers, including many members of the Rotary Club of Mount Airy. Final appreciation to Blossom and Basket Boutique for wrapping all those prizes. Okay, the Hero Banner Program window is open once again. We're only doing 50 banners this year. The current banners will remain up through Memorial Day, and then once those come down, the retired banners will be returned to the sponsors. Stay tuned for updates. For more information on this, you can contact town staff Ashley Collier or Gina Gallucci-White at Town Hall 301-829-1424. This Saturday, a memorial service will be held for former council member Bob King at Calvary Methodist Church. That'll be at 2 p.m. this Saturday. At the Mayor's Conference, topics, which I attended on Thursday and Friday of last week, along with Carl. Carl came down, council member Munder came down for a advocacy day. But it included discussions on legislation concerning youth crime, housing costs, and a housing shortage in Maryland, speed cameras, cannabis dispensaries, and growers, and creating a state tax for those who have electric cars. If you have any quick questions, I could address them really quick, or you could just contact me afterwards, council members, if you have a question about any of those topics.
I do have a question, Mr. Mayor. It's on the PFAS.
Yes.
Are we still collecting quarterly samples?
Yes.
I think, did we collect samples in February?
Barney?
And are they on the website yet? I didn't see them.
They're not on the website yet.
Okay. Anything noteworthy or still within the ranges we've been seeing?
I don't have the results.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but all the samples have been slightly up and down.
Okay.
I think we have one pumping station that's always tested good. Is that 4?
4, yes.
Yeah, number 4 has always been good. The other ones have gone around, so.
Okay, but they'll be showing up on the website soon then?
Yes, they will.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor?
Just quick one from Barney on the PFAS. What's the normal turnaround time from sample to, I want to say, receiving the test results?
Normally 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay. So a month, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We expect those results anytime.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you very much, Mayor. We'll move on to our Recreation and Parks Board, Beautification Commission, and the Flatiron Task Force with Council Secretary Galletti.
Thank you. I'm going to start with the Beautification Commission, had their first meeting since October due to holidays and weather. They are, let's see, I'm reading the minutes, so thank you to Beverly Blatchford who sent the minutes. The chairperson will not be available the next couple meetings, so Beverly has graciously volunteered to chair those meetings. They got all the holiday decorations down, they are planting, they are weeding. I'm not going to read it all. You can follow them on Facebook. You can get details of where they're at and what they're doing, and pretty much every day of the week you'll see one of them out there planting or weeding or getting us ready for spring. And the next meeting is supposed to be March 19th at 7 o'clock, but I understand there's a discussion, since it's the night of the Hall of Fame banquet, they might be changing beautification, so stay tuned, and probably if they change, it'll be posted on their Facebook page. Then Parks and Rec, well, Flatiron, I'll go through some of that, but there is a meeting next week, and I want to point out a couple things. That in February, the Flatiron Task Force, I said commission, I was forward-thinking, they provided information to the Director of Community Development regarding an upcoming Maryland Historical Trust Capital Preservation Grant. Whew, say that fast 5 times. And I know the mayor had contacted the director talking about moving forward with that. And as you saw tonight, we got the plans from the architect, so those will most likely be discussed at the task force next week. So a couple years this group has been going, and I thank them pretty much about every council meeting, but one person I've never thanked for their unwavering and constant support is our mayor, who has supported this group, believed in them like I did, so I have to personally thank him for backing me up and supporting this group from day one. So the task force for the Flatiron will be Tuesday, March 12th here, 7 o'clock, Town Hall. And Parks and Rec met, and I've got a quick thank you to Scott Ryland because they're looking for a new secretary. I hate to even say it out loud, Mark has stepped down from Parks and Rec because he did change his address from Mount Airy, so tried to stop that, but he just wouldn't listen to me. So quick recap, the Springfield allocations are set, so that was good to know that they worked out with the groups to get the fields allocated. And just remember, Bob King used to drive around and make sure you were using your fields that you requested, so you just never know when Bob's watching you. And there's some Eagle Scout projects. There's a Gaga pit, location to be determined. I thought that meant that Sherry was getting Lady Gaga to come visit us, but it has nothing to do with her. It's Nancy, it's like a pit with a ball, right? Okay, it'll be at Watkins? All right, and then, I should have had you come up and do this. And then another Eagle Scout is putting bat houses at Windy Ridge, and they're really gearing up on the fundraisers for the next phase of the skate park. The next meeting is March 21st, 7 o'clock, and that will be via Zoom, so you can see that on Facebook Live. And if you want to participate, you would email Mike Regal, the chair. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you very much. We'll move on to our Planning Commission with Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Council President. For the county planners, we had Hannah from Carroll County mention the water and sewer amendment regarding the mobile home park on Twin Arch will be done in April. She also mentioned that we are number 5 on the priority list for improvements to Route 27 from Lyshia Road to south down to the county line. The priority list is only 5 long, so we take that with a grain of salt. From Frederick County, we had Justin. I previously mentioned to the council that there was a moratorium for MXD in Frederick County, but we come to find out that that is not true, and Justin acknowledged that at our last meeting. He said next meeting we will be discussing the Cromwell property in New Market, which will be age-restricted senior housing community. The water map amendment for the mobile home park on Twin Arch Road was approved unanimously. We've reviewed the Green Tree pattern book and offered some revisions to the book. We are going to await the revisions so we can review again. We did Master Plan Chapter 5 on municipal growth element, discussed the edits from the Mount Airy Volunteer Fire Company. Doug Alexander from the fire department went over his edits. We are currently waiting on some revisions from Parks and Recs to finish that chapter. March 14th is our next master plan workshop here at Town Hall. And our next PC meeting is Monday, March 25th at 7:30 here at Town Hall. We will also have public hearing for the allocation of water and sewer into allocation categories, and we will be setting the master hearing for setting the priority areas for allocation of water and sewer capacity. That concludes my February Planning Commission report.
All right, thank you. We'll go on to Streets and Roads Commission and the EDC with Councilmember Demoter.
All right, thank you. There was no EDC meeting in February due to a lack of a quorum. Our next meeting will be on March 27th. On Streets and Roads, we last met on January 30th. The commission continues to address speeding and other traffic safety concerns raised by our citizens. I do want to again highlight that on April 13th, from 11 to 3 at the Carnival Grounds, there will be the second annual teen driving event. This is free to everyone. It's sponsored by State Farm Insurance, and the town is partnering with that and helping with that. Our Streets and Roads Commission is also participating and helping in that event. So I wanted to remind you of that. And our next meeting will be held on March 28th at 7 p.m. Note that this is a Thursday. We usually meet on Tuesdays. This is a Thursday, so please take note of the different date. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to Recycling and Sanitation Commission and the Sustainability Commission with Councilmember Munder.
All righty. On the Sustainability Commission, there was no meeting this past month due to scheduling conflicts. The next meeting will be April 17th, 7 p.m. in Town Hall. There was no Recycling and Sanitation Commission meeting this past month because it was the month that is normally, they meet every other month, so it was not their month to meet. The next meeting will be Wednesday, March 20th at 7 p.m. in Town Hall. A couple event announcements related to these two commissions. The annual shredding event is scheduled for April 20th at Watkins Park. Please check the town website for times of this. The yearly bulk item pickup is tentatively scheduled for April 27th. It will be curbside. Also check the town website for more details. And for the final announcement, spring has finally sprung. So it is time to think of gardens. So please contact Ashley Kohler, I can't pronounce the last name, at Town Hall for information on plots in the Mount Airy Community Garden. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We will now move on to the Water and Sewer Commission, which is my commission. That commission met on February 7th here at Town Hall. During that meeting, there was a review of the Draft Master Plan, Chapter 3, where Chairperson Dick Swanson shared his comments to the Planning Commission on water during their Master Plan update meeting. There is a potential stormwater management project. The Water Resource Coordination Council and the Carroll County Department of Planning and Land Management are assessing the need for stormwater management improvements in the Nottingham section of Mount Airy. As far as our next meeting, we will be meeting on March 6th here at Town Hall. The start time will be 6 p.m., not 7 p.m., so there is a minor change. We will be starting an hour early, and that will, one more thing, I'm sorry. As far as the updated drought status, it was noted that we ended the calendar year 2023 with a precipitation deficit and voluntary water restriction. January's rainfall exceeded the average by approximately 3 inches. Consequently, the mayor allowed the voluntary water restriction to lapse on February 1st, and the commission did agree with that decision. So that concludes my water and sewer report for February. And now we'll move on to our town attorney, Mr. Tom McCarron.
Over the last month, the main thing I worked on was the ordinance to create the Commission on Aging and Livability. Otherwise, provided general advice over the last month. That's my report.
All right, thank you. We all did receive copies of the town administrator report, code enforcement, and zoning administrator. Anything else to add, John, onto that? Middle? Okay. All right, no questions. All right, we will now move on to our ordinances and resolutions. First up will be Ordinance 2024-1. This is a budget amendment to add $20,000 in revenue to the general fund capital budget to account for $10,000 donation from the Mount Airy Historical Society and the Preservation Maryland grant for $10,000. This is up for adoption. Do we have a motion to adopt?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on this topic? Hearing none, all in favor to adopt ordinance number 2024-1, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. It's nice to add money for a change. All right, next up will be ordinance 2024-2. This will repeal the Cable Television Commission and establish the Commission on Aging and Livability, otherwise known as COLE. This is up for adoption, and I will make a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-2 with the council member demoter's edits to the charter language, which all council members did receive prior to our meeting. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
All right, do we have any discussion?
I'm sorry, Council President, I missed that comment.
Oh, no, I was going to say, you have the second, so I just didn't know if we had any discussion.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would like to give an overview on this. First, I want to say I am a senior citizen. I think I'm the only senior citizen on the council. I want to.
They're getting offended over there. But
Yeah, I think the current date is 50.
Although I don't necessarily look like one.
That's better.
It's the crab cakes and cheeseburgers that keeps me young. I want to congratulate all of the people who have been involved just from the early days. In the early days, there was a kind of an exploratory team, and then there was the creation of MASS, and now here we are on the verge of COLE. And I just want to say you should be extremely proud of the work you've done, and the fruits of your labor are displayed in this commission charter. I was with you guys in the early days. I think Mr. Butts had approached me and he said, you know, can we take that 2020 community survey and can we cut that in a way to look at our seniors? So we were able to look at, from that survey, the people who were over 60, people who were under 60, people who lived in Wildwood, and we could compare and contrast the views about quality of life among the different age groups. So that was kind of my entree into your efforts. And I learned a lot from that exercise, and that helped to inform me on working on this charter. So what I thought I would do is walk you through, we made some edits to the charter, and I wanted to walk you through those and walk the council members through those. Does that sound appropriate, Council President? That's fine. Okay. So the council members have a red line version. It's actually a blue line version, and then you have a clean version. And basically what we've done is we've made some refinements that kind of enhance the intent of the charter and provide some additional balance. And what I mean is the title of this commission is the Aging and Livability Commission. So livability covers everybody. It covers seniors, it covers all people of all ages. And everyone has issues and needs for improving their quality of life. We want to focus very heavily on our seniors, but we want to look overall at livability. So very briefly, if you turn to the second page, council members and mayor, under powers and duties, we've made a number of edits, and let me say these were heavily coordinated within the council and working with the council president. I reached out to Mr. Bill Butts, who is one of your founding members, to get his perspectives on this and his essentially concurrence on it and what we were doing. So this has been coordinated. And so what we've done is under A basically says we want this commission to help us ensure a safe and secure community a good place to live with opportunities for everyone of all ages and to have a good quality of life. So that's what A does. It says we want everyone to have a very strong, enhanced quality of life, and we want to maintain that. And then under B, B's main focus is what we want to achieve and how we're going to achieve it for our senior citizens. So we emphasize that we basically moved something that used to be an A and moved it down to B to complete the focus on seniors there. The other thing that we did was we took out the word affordable in front of housing, and we used the word accessible, because we thought accessible means a lot of things. It means ADA compliant. It also means affordable. We wanted to not use the word affordable in the charter because that would have been the only place anywhere in our code that used the word affordable. And I think that word means different things to different people. And so we wanted to take that approach. And then C, we've enhanced C. And under C, this is where we say we want to have a cooperative, livable community, not just for the current citizens, but for our future citizens as well, because we want to be thinking ahead about if we grow as a town and new citizens come in, what are the infrastructure needs? What are the other senior needs? What are the needs for everybody, regardless of age? And then we highlighted that we want to look at needs specific to particular generations. So that would be our seniors, but it could also be other age groups. And then we want to look at needs held in common among different generations. Because often when you're solving the problems of one group, you're also helping to solve issues for other groups. So those are some of the refinements we made, and that is the version that we have before us for adoption. So I wanted to walk through that with everybody.
All right, thank you. Any questions?
No questions, just a couple comments, Mr. President. I'll make them quick. First off, I'd like to thank the work on this from various council members and Councilman DeMotor and the council president. I had some concerns with the original version just due to some wording things, and this took care of that concern. And also, I just thought of this. I was ribbing Wayne a little bit this morning about the name of the thing, coal. And I just thought of something. You know what happens to coal over time? It creates diamonds. So I expect some very good gems out of this commission that will work well for the seniors and the aging population within this town. So thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, just a quick minute. Thanks, council, for working together on refining this. I do think that, that original mass group got together and put forth a really good ordinance, and I would have been happy as it was written before, but I do agree that the wording is a little bit smoother now, and I look forward to our first meeting, which will be on March 13th if this passes.
And I'd like to make one other quick comment, and that is, again, the work you guys have done has been outstanding on this. And I want people to understand what this does, because by elevating this, from a task force now to a commission, this gives this initiative kind of the cachet, the credibility, the entree, if you will. It carries more weight. And so I think this is going to help open more doors in terms of talking with people about resources and needs and partnerships. And once you get inside those doors, you're going to get a lot more responsiveness. So I just think it's a win all around. I know everybody works so hard on this. I know the mayor's been working on this for a long time. And to all the core members, just a job well done. So thank you.
All right, anything else? I'll just say, when the mayor brought this to me on our way home from the meeting with the MDE a couple months ago, I was full go. And I told him I'll support it, but only if I'm allowed to be the liaison. So I'm looking forward to adding a little bit more to my plate and representing them fiercely. I plan on getting both Commissioner Guerin and Councilmember McKay from Frederick and Carroll County in the same room during one of our meetings, and we're going to have some long, good conversation to kind of work out some of these issues we have. So I'm looking forward to the next couple years of working with this commission if this vote passes, and I would ask the council that we make this if possible, a unanimous decision. So any other comments, questions, concerns? All right, all those in favor of adopting the Commission on Aging and Livability within Ordinance 2024-2, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you, and congratulations to all of the MAS members that are now the Cole members.
Not yet, come on.
Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will. All right, we will now move on to Ordinance 2024-3. This is up for introduction. It is a budget amendment to add $49,000 to the water and sewer capital budget for a new pump for sewer station number 3. This is for introduction only, so I will make a motion to introduce. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we will see this next month. Thank you very much. And now our second, on the agenda, our second portion of new business will be the commission appointments and reappointments. So I will relinquish to Mayor Hushhour.
All right, so I have a whole list of members to appoint to the Coal Commission. I'll go ahead and read them all out. Tim is going to be the liaison to the commission and serve as a quasi judicial member. I think that's correct term for it. Or, no, it's not, is it? Liaison.
Liaison.
Yes, okay. All right, we'll stick with that. Tim's going to be there. I'd like to appoint Adele Connolly, Diane Linton, Mary Hushhour, Bill Butts, Wayne Evans, Roxanne Hemphill, Carmen Peltzer, and Sandy Menerick to the Coal Commission.
All right, so what we'll do here, if we have any questions, feel free to ask about any number 1 through 8. If we don't have any questions, then we'll just do one vote that'll appoint all 8 at the same time. Any questions, concerns?
I have no concerns at all. I have a question. I don't know if you know now, Mayor, how you're going to do this, but, so I know the charter says that the membership is staggered.
Yes.
So like the first group will expire July 1st, 2025, the next group 26, et cetera. So you're going to assign certain members to certain terms, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's what Colleen and I will sit down and
Okay.
figure out which ones we're going to put there. I don't think any of the commission members are going to have a problem with, whoever ends up with the shorter term just gets reappointed at that point, but it will be somewhat staggered, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, any other further questions, concerns, comments?
Just looks like a wonderful list of commission appointments for this group.
Can I just point out something really quick? It goes with what Commissioner Guerin said. We got these senior citizens yet again volunteering for something. So kudos to you guys. Uh-huh. I love it.
All right, so with that being said, all those in favor of Mayor Hushhour's appointments 1 through 8, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
All right, first meeting, March 13th, 7 PM in Town Hall.
All right, thank you guys very much. All right, a little bit more new business. The April Town Council meeting will fall on the 1st. We're going to reschedule that due to Easter, the Easter holiday, and spring break. So our April Town Council meeting will now be on April 8th. So that is done. It will be 7:30 PM here at Town Hall. Oh. I'd just rather just say that that's what we're going to do. Do we have, I will make a motion to move the April Town Council meeting from the 1st of April to the 8th of April. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you guys very much. And then last thing under new business, basically this is for discussion only and just to kick around some ideas about creating a council policy on a couple different things, including but not limited to conduct for council members while attending town commission and/or board meetings outside of the liaison role. This could also include what we consider the liaison's role to be. And I know that there is also some concerns about the Open Meetings Act and having more than a quorum of the council there participating in a certain meeting. So this is for strict discussion only. That's not really anything that we would look to really hammer anything in now. Open it up for discussion, see if it's something we need to do, and if so, we can kind of discuss amongst ourselves individually over the next month, and then come back in April with some ideas. All right, so with that being said, I'll open up the floor to anyone that'd like to speak.
I'll be the first to speak. Probably a good idea to at least batter around some ideas and see what we can improve on and see if there is a problem at commission meetings and how to attend, because sometimes we all show up at meetings, we just sit in separate corners and things of that nature, and sometimes we all feel the need to get up and speak our mind and stuff. And I know people get up and say, like I've done it before too, get up and say, I'm a member of the town council, but then I would hopefully say also that tonight I'm speaking on myself and my behalf, and hopefully that will remove any potential Open Meetings Act concerns about it too. But on some commission meetings, I don't have a problem also, if I have a concern, to contact the liaison and also to, get up and speak in my, on my behalf, or to talk with commission members. And I can also talk to commission members outside of regular meetings too. So sometimes it's just good to talk around ideas and see if there is a problem and go from there.
Yeah. I know one concern I have, just to move forward, and I know that the mayor said it as well, to look to Tom to see if there is any legal thing that we're kind of jeopardizing with having, multiple council members there, whether they're there as citizens or council members participating in, any type of meeting.
Well, first of all, most of the time, these are themselves open meetings. They're open meetings of the commission. So they are open meetings. You're not holding a closed meeting. And there is an exception to the Open Meetings Act. Basically, it's not a meeting if it's a chance gathering. So it doesn't have to necessarily be another commission. You could be together at I think, I used to get questions at the fire department's lunch, I think, or whatever it was they had at dinner, an awards banquet, I think, or something along those lines. And that was fell within the exception of the Open Meetings Act. So I don't view really there to be any major Open Meetings Act issues with what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so, if you don't mind. Yep. So my question is, there's a town not too far away from here where there was a planning commission meeting, and the mayor was in there, several council members, and they were texting, and they appeared to be texting people who were up at the front of the room at.
Well, that is
what it.
Yeah.
So where do you cross the line? I mean, if I got a council member up here and a council member back there, and where's the line crossed?
Well, and that is the line right there. Basically, you've now got non-public, I mean, statements being made.
It's because they're texting.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Whether they're texting or talking.
Yeah.
I think it's clear that line was crossed, and I think a lot of towns in the state have learned from that really quickly.
Yeah.
I believe they also, if I'm not mistaken, there may have been sort of, I think things got shut down and a quorum went outside and began to talk and things of that sort. Clearly, you cannot do that.
Yeah. Are there any, obviously texting would be a good, rule of thumb, don't do that. Council members sitting together, talking during a meeting, any problem?
I probably would, if you have a quorum of the council together, avoid that.
Break it up a little bit?
Yeah, I probably would do that.
Okay.
Again, the major issue is, one, is it an open meeting in the sense that the public's got the opportunity to be there? But I guess the corollary to that is, are the conversations among people who are covered under the act, or a body that is covered under the act, that the public can't hear contemporaneously with those conversations? That's ultimately, at the end of the day, what we're talking about, and that should be avoided.
Okay. All right, and the only thing I would add on to that, which there is I think all the council members know, there is a policy book. And in that policy book, there are council policies. So if the council wanted to create a policy, that's where it would go. And there wouldn't be a problem with that. I do think that, as a rule of thumb, even if it's me, if I show up to a meeting and they're talking about something that's going on, down the road from me, if it's a personal comment that I'm making, I'm just going to be respectful of the chairman of the commission, abide by their rules, and step away from the mic when I'm supposed to. But if I'm showing up in an official capacity, then I would let the chairman know that in advance and let him know what I'm up to, so.
All right, so yeah, I mean, this was kind of the point of bringing this conversation up under new business. And, a lot of the things that you just said, I'm still kind of learning as I go, admittedly. I don't want to mistakenly do something incorrect. So if there's a way where we can create just some, not digging down into specific weeds, but just some high level, like, hey, don't do this, right? When you're attending meetings or when you're out. If we have something that, even new council members that might not be as versed in government can view and kind of become a little bit more, so that you don't make the same mistake that this other town nearby made, whether intentional or unintentional.
Joe,
So,
remain nameless.
yeah. So,
Very near.
so that's one thing that I would like for maybe us to work on, and if we include Tom in that, to add into the council policy book. So that's one specific area. I know if anyone else has anything else that they're thinking.
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts.
Go ahead.
So, and I'm still learning, and actually preparing for this discussion, I learned some things. So I know when I first became a council member, we had a short orientation session. I don't know, Councilmember Gleddy, if you remember. And Council President Poyer kind of walked through, here's how we do things, we do a budget, we do this, we that. And then we talked about council liaisons. And he said, well, your role as a liaison is to basically just be a communication conduit to say, here's what's happening at the council, and to share that information to the commission that you're a liaison to, and vice versa. So I thought, okay, I think I get that. And then as I started operating as a council member, I saw different commissions and different liaisons, and some people in liaison roles were truly just that. They sat totally quiet, they gave their report on what was happening at the council, and that was it. Other commissions, the liaison was a very active member of the commission. I mean, they essentially helped to run the meetings, they rolled up their sleeves, they did a lot of the work, okay? So I looked at that and I thought, okay, well, it looks like you can kind of do whatever you want to do here within these boundaries. I know in my role as a liaison now for my two commissions, I always ask my chairpersons, at the end of every meeting, I say, what do you need from me? Can I do anything for you? And I'll do however much more you want me to do or less that you want me to do. So I try and gauge that for myself. But the question is, what is the role of a liaison? And I bring that up because, in preparation for this, I read all of the commission charters. And so I'll use the one for one of my own. This is Streets and Roads. It says membership. It says consists of up to 7 members, including 1 member of the town council. So you are a member of the commission. who shall count towards a quorum, okay, and shall vote on commission decisions in cases of tie votes. So I don't vote on anything else, but this basically says, you're a member of the commission. You can sit at the table, you can participate in all the discussions, you can bring up agenda items. I mean, you're a full member of the commission. So if that's the case, we ought to put this, I don't know if it's a policy, but we ought to put this in writing that says, if you're a liaison, here are the expectations for what that is. Here's what it means in the context of you being a member on a commission and what you're allowed to do there. And I think where it gets a little, communication is one of those things. What's that exercise? You line up 15 people, you whisper into the first person's ear, they communicate it down, and by the time you get to the 15th person, what they thought the message was is totally different than what the message was given to the first person. So sometimes when we're doing work, we miscommunicate, we misinterpret, that kind of thing. So I think we all understand what we should do. I think, if you go to a commission meeting and you want to express your views as a citizen and/or council member, you should state that's what you're doing, and then you give your comment or concern. But sometimes we go to meetings and we are representing our commission because maybe the commission chair couldn't be there or some members couldn't be there. So there are times when you would go and you really should sit at the table and you're representing the commission and you're giving an update for the commission. And I agree, it's just important to clearly communicate when you're functioning in either one of those roles, to communicate what the role is that you're functioning in, and to make sure the commission chair that you're addressing understands that. And I just think in the natural course of what we do, sometimes that gets muddied up a bit. So those are my thoughts.
I just had a comment because what I noticed here for new business was kind of a policy, like the mayor said, that could go in the council member policy book on attending a commission and/or board meeting outside your liaison role. So I get what council member Demoter's talking about, because we discussed this a couple of years ago, that each commission is unique, and some commissions, they do have a strong, most of them now have a strong chairperson, or they rely on their council liaison to guide them, especially if they're new. But I thought one of the things I was thinking on is touching on this and what you guys probably haven't noticed, I haven't been in any of your meetings in the last few months since the town that shall not be named issue. I watch you all on TV. It's very easy for us to watch the meetings on TV and participate that way. So we're not in the same room and we're not giving the appearance of something. But a question for Tom. So if, say I go to a commission that's not my commission, and I get up to speak and I say, I'm on the town council, but I'm representing myself as a citizen. Does common sense prevail there that if I'm coming as a citizen, they're gonna know we're in town council, we're on TV. Shouldn't I just go as the citizen and speak at that meeting as the citizen after I've already spoken to the liaison and say, hey, I'm gonna come as a town, if it's that important, I'm gonna come as a town resident. Otherwise, I'm gonna go right to the liaison, discuss it with them, and maybe go to the chair of the commission and say, I have some more questions, because we get that on every issue we face here. We need clarification, we have questions, we need things cleared up, and we should educate ourselves, and we should learn things when we're discussing at the table. So wouldn't common sense prevail where I really should just say, I'm here as a citizen to discuss blank, Tom? And not give the appearance of I'm coming as a town council member, but I'm coming as a citizen now. Just leave the town council part out if you're coming as a citizen, right?
Yeah, there's nothing, no legal distinction. It's not illegal for you to come and say, hey, I'm a council person. I'm here to give you my 2 cents as a council person. Or you could do it the way you've suggested. I mean, there's no legal distinction. The Open Meetings Act is just simply addresses, is there a quorum of a public body? Is it an open meeting? And are they having discussion in open, basically? But, is that a good idea? I'd leave it to you all to decide that, but there's really no legal distinction to make there.
I have another comment, if I may. And again, just preparing for this conversation got me thinking. And maybe the place to do this, and this just kind of came to me, maybe the place to do this is the following. So remember, council members and mayor, we had some team building training, and we had about 3 or 4 days of training. And as part of those exercises, we had conversations about what our operating principles would be, how we want to work as a team. The idea was, as a council and a mayor, we're a team. We want to draw upon each other's strengths, compensate for each other's weaknesses. When we're in front of the public, when it's a spicy issue, you want to help your fellow elected officials, that kind of thing. And I thought that was great training. At the end of that training, I believe Kelly Frager, she said, well, you guys talked about all of the way you wanted to operate as a group. I'm going to send you the notes so you guys can then take it from there and write up your own set of values and operating principles. Did she send us that? And if she did, it looks like we haven't acted on it. I'm going to suggest let's get her notes. Let's indeed put together what our operating guidelines are as a team. And maybe what you're talking about just goes into that. We put in there, how we're going to interact within each other and then with other commissions or something. And even if it doesn't go in there, I want to strongly suggest we pick the ball up on that and follow through, because we have not followed through.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I'll make it quick because the hour is getting late, and I think we may have a closed meeting. So as for the council meetings, I believe, not the council, but the commission meetings, I believe that each commission has their own set of rules, how the commission's supposed to run and all that. And I believe it's generally based on the Robert's Rules of Order. So basically, we following that, we're getting better at it. So when council members attend those things, we should follow the rules that are in place. We can make this a policy, follow the rules that are in place for that commission based on Robert's Rules of Order, that, there's certain periods of comment. Once those are done, we're just, in the gallery for observation and that type of stuff. Also, I get what Councilmember Galetti was saying, but I'll make a comment. The observation is dang if you do, dang if you don't. Because if you do say it, you're trying to cover yourself, and someone is going to say that you're trying to influence. And if you don't say it, then you get the same thing. Well, you're not saying it. So I get what you're saying too. But unfortunately, it's one of those dang if you do, dang if you don't scenarios. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Yep.
I fully support having the policies and kind of like a roadmap on how we're supposed to act when we're doing, outside meetings. I'm still very new and I'm still learning some of the things that, the wrongs and rights. So I think it would be good to have some sort of policy in place where you can look back on that and be like, wait a minute, I'm about to go to this commission meeting. Is it going to make sense for me to do this or this or this? So I support it and I'd like to see it move forward.
All right, thanks. And I agree with Councilmember DeMotor, a lot when it comes to our team building and stuff like that internally. My thought on this, though, is to almost leave it better than it was before you got there. I would have liked to have seen this is what's expected, this is what's not expected, and don't do this, which is what that town we won't be named did, right? So, because I wouldn't have thought any difference if I just texted, Councilmember Evans and said, hey, we're just talking about whatever, and then someone picks up on that, and, I made a mistake and didn't even know it. So, I think that we can go back to our training and maybe build an internal, kind of like a team building thing and continue that. But I would like to put something into these policies, kind of like Councilman Demoter's guidelines for different things for like the open space, that can just be used as a point of reference. So we can do it a couple different ways, however you guys feel comfortable. I would feel fine kind of working with Tom, at least on the Open Meetings Act specifics of it. And then also, maybe we can all just shoot some ideas via email individually about whatever else you might want to see on these. And then we can do a quick review of them in next month's meeting and see if we want to do it as a resolution and then add it into the council policies. Everyone pretty, okay with that? Yeah. Okay. All right, great conversation. I appreciate it. We don't have anything in unfinished business. I believe we do have a closed meeting this evening.
Yeah, closed meeting, quick update from you, unless you don't, I think you have something, but not a lot.
Little bit?
So it'll be a quick meeting.
All right. So then what we'll do is we'll roll call into a closed meeting. At the conclusion of that meeting, this town council meeting will be adjourned. So I will roll call and hopefully get everybody's names right. Councilmember Evans.
Aye.
Councilmember Munder.
Aye.
Council Secretary Galletti.
Aye.
Councilmember Demoter.
Aye.
I am an aye as well. Thank you, guys, and we'll see you next month.